Okay, commencing analysis. Our mission today is to decrypt the digital signal that can take raw, direct guitar audio and transform it into a professional, totally mix-ready tone. We're going to isolate a key data packet and, well, crack the code of modern guitar sound.
Here's how we're going to do it. Our analysis has 5 phases. First, we'll identify a strange signal anomaly, then we'll decode what it's made of. After that, we'll run a side-by-side hardware analysis, detail how to implement this in the modern world, and finally, we'll lay out our conclusion on how the code is cracked.
All right, commencing phase 1, the ghost signal. Our investigation starts with a core problem, a fundamental issue with the raw audio that comes out of pretty much any electric guitar. It's an anomaly that has plagued countless recordings.
So here's the central query. Why is it that when you plug a guitar straight into a recording interface, the signal sounds so brittle, thin, scratchy? People often call it bees in a jar. You know it when you hear it. The raw signal just doesn't have that depth and character we expect from a great guitar tone. The system is incomplete.
Well, we've identified the missing component. It's a specific data packet that we're classifying as the ghost signal. Now, in engineering terms, what we're really talking about is an impulse response, or IR. This is the missing link, the piece that restores all that sonic integrity.
Moving on to phase 2, the sonic snapshot. Now that we've identified the anomaly, let's really dig into the science behind the impulse response and the methods used to capture this so-called ghost signal.
So what exactly is an impulse response? Think of it as a data file, but it's a very special one. It's like a sonic photograph. It digitally captures the entire acoustic character of a physical system. That means the speaker cabinet, the specific microphone used to record it, and even the room it's in, with all its unique reflections and resonant frequencies.
Now, here's the crucial part, how this data actually gets used. The process is called convolution, and it's basically a mathematical filtering operation. It takes that impulse response and applies it to your dry direct guitar signal, digitally imprinting the entire sonic DNA of that captured speaker setup right onto your raw audio. It's pretty incredible. Let's quickly look at how these are made today. You start with the physical system, the cab and the mic. Then a swept sine wave, which is a tone that moves from the lowest to the highest frequencies, is played through the speaker. You record the output of that. Then, a process called deconvolution is performed on that recording, which isolates the system's unique reaction and generates the final IR data file.
Initiating phase 3, the cabinet battle. Now, let's do a comparative analysis of 2 iconic pieces of hardware that have been digitized as impulse responses, the legendary Celestion Vintage 30 and the equally famous Celestion G12M Greenback. If you just analyze the raw specifications, you can see the key engineering differences right away. The Vintage 30 has a much higher power handling at 60 watts and a sensitivity of 100 decibels. It's really designed to emphasize those aggressive mid-range frequencies. The Greenback, on the other hand, is rated for just 25 watts. It has a lower sensitivity, and it's engineered for warmer lows and much smoother mids.
And these frequency response graphs show you everything. They illustrate those core sonic differences perfectly. On the left, you can see the Vintage 30's curve has this huge, significant peak right in the upper mid-range. That's its signature bite. The Greenback over on the right has a much broader, smoother curve with a more rolled-off top end. These curves are, for all intents and purposes, the speaker's sonic fingerprints.
If you were to visualize this data on an oscilloscope, the V30 signature would be a series of sharp, aggressive peaks. It's built for clarity and cutting through a really dense mix, especially with high gain. The Greenback produces a smoother, more compressed waveform, which is characteristic of its vintage warm response. The sound you get is completely dictated by this underlying data.
Okay, let's proceed to phase 4, practical application. We're now going to detail the procedure for integrating this technology into a modern digital signal chain, what you can do right now.
The process is really systematic. First, you connect your hardware to its desktop editor software. Then you find the impulse response directory. From there, you can just import standard WAV format IR files from your computer. Then, inside your digital rig, you add what's called an IR loader block, and then you just select the file you imported. The ghost signal is now active and in your chain. It's that simple.
Now, one final signal conditioning step is pretty much required for a pro sound. You need to use low-cut and high-cut filters. A low-cut filter gets rid of all that subsonic rumble that just muddies up a mix, while a high-cut tames that high-frequency fizz that can sound really harsh. This is how you sculpt the final tone so it sits perfectly in a full track.
And that brings us to our conclusion.
Phase 5 initiated. We've gone from identifying a signal anomaly to dissecting its data and its application. We've confirmed that the core components of an authentic, mic'd-up guitar tone can be successfully isolated and replicated in the digital world.
The code for real tone has been cracked. The ghost signal is no longer an anomaly. It's a tool. So the question isn't how anymore, it's what. Which piece of classic hardware should we digitize next? Your input is requested. Log your response in the comments below. End of transmission.